There's a cereal in the neighborhood. Ghostbusters! New Slimer ghosts, fruit-flavored oats. Ghostbusters with milk and juice and toast. A complete breakfast with the ghosts. Ghostbusters!
I told you it's glowing. It's the real Ghostbuster cereal.
The first cereal box that glows in the dark with 4 glow-in-the-dark Ghostbuster trading cards.
Slimer!
You gotta have it.
Ghostbusters!
The first cereal box that glows in the dark.
There they go again! And now Coca-Cola Classic wants you to get us ghosts too! They want you to become a Ghostbuster! They say you could win the Ghostbusters 2 Ectomobile! Just grab an entry form where Coca-Cola Classic is sold! We dare you to send it in! So become a Ghostbuster! See if we care!
I mean, this is going to make E.T. look like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know what I'm saying?
It's good stuff, right? Happy Ghostbusters Day, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Troy, happy
Ghostbusters Day. Good to see you.
There he is. One of the. Oh, they're out of control. They're out of control.
They are. Yeah, they're all around here. I just figured just stay back there and be quiet and yeah, there you go.
That's good. That's
I
good.
told them I was going to be on your channel, and they're like, "Ooh," and I'm like, "Just calm down."
That sounds on brand for me. It does sound on brand for me, so I could see that. Okay, fair enough. They're coming in. They're coming in chat. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Happy Ghostbuster. I almost said Star Wars because that's where my brain goes, because for like a whole month, that's where I was. And like this happened so quick. And I'm like, I'm not the massive Ghostbusters guy. So I'm like, well, let me get a Ghostbusters guy in here. And maybe there'll be others. We'll see. If you guys want to come up in here, if you're a member for sure, let us know.
I gotta say, being a Ghostbusters fan, I got yesterday and Star Wars fan. Yesterday, I think I got, I've been married for over 30 years now. Love my wife, but she's got to be a saint to put up with me. I always say that she's my enabler because, the stuff I get, right? Yesterday kind of pushed her to the edge. I was like, this is probably the closest I've ever gotten a divorce. 2 things that came up for pre-sale and limited window, right? For Star Wars, it was the Hasbro HasLab Cantina.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but at the very same time, Tobin's Spirit Guide, the full version with the cloth linen interiors and high prestige and fully readable, 300 some pages. I said, I gotta have it. But we're talking buku bucks. I don't even want to say how much we spent.
Wow. But, okay. Well, listen, they're teasing and taunting us out there, my friend. I know what to tell you. So, yeah, that's another reason to be a fan and find wives that can understand that that's how we're wired. And they are definitely.
She absolutely does understand. In fact, I had an action figure. I was like, I'm not really even sure why I got it, and it was a Mandalorian figure, not Mando Mandalorian, but one of the what are the blue guys? The blue whatever their clan is. And I'm like, I don't even know why I got this. And they're just like, oh, can I have it? It's blue. I'm like, sure. So she's got it up there displayed with the Fives figure that I got for her.
Cool.
And the custom R0 figure that I made for her.
Awesome. Well, first one in the house is trolling us because this is easily the best of the Ron Jeremy movies.
That's why I said don't cross the streams.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, don't cross those streams for sure. There he is. She's in the house. She's going to keep us honest out there.
I love you, sweetie.
All right. Stephen Ransom, SR's in the house. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Yeah, let's do it, man. 40 years. That means, 15. Ooh, yeah. It's,
you made me feel old, though. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Vax, talking about somebody who's not old enough to remember when it first came out. Hey, Vax, hope you're doing well. Great to see you. Let's see here. Did I get everybody? Slashers Fred's in the house. Who are you going to call? We're gonna call Pops and Troy, evidently. Nurporiel's in the house. Hopefully, brother. Hope you're doing all right, man. Congratulations to Troy.
Yes, thank
on
you so much.
That membership monetization stuff has been reached. You will be doing that here soon. Hopefully, we'll get more information as that unpacks itself, that kind of thing. So, Walter Peck ain't got no. Yeah, I know. That's such a great line. So, let me think here. See, yeah. See, I want to touch on
some sort of animal. We don't know what.
Well, I do. I'm glad you brought that up because it made me think about it today. Because I did a rewatch of Ghostbusters 2. For those of you out there who were wondering, because I do have some Ghostbusters 2 hate. Ironcaster was really upset with me because that's his favorite. Because he was at that stage when that's what the first one he saw, and then later it's like okay. But for me and you and some of the folks that are out there, this was this massive letdown for me from the first one, and it really hit me. From me finishing the movie 2 days ago to now was, you know what? When Ghostbusters came out in '84, it was PG. There wasn't a PG-13 yet. When PG-13 arrives for the new one, they didn't want to be PG-13. I can feel the pressure from the studio going, no, it needs to be PG just like it was last time. So it feels so soft and vanilla and generic. Because obviously the first one is definitely a more PG-13 content than the second film, and I think that was a huge reason why.
It's interesting you say that because I watch Ghostbusters 2 now, and there's that scene where the tub comes to life, and I'm looking at how Dane is dressed, and I'm like, this should probably be PG-13.
Yeah,
just saying.
They never show anything, but I also felt that scene wasn't scary, and I also felt.
No, it was.
Yeah.
I felt that, and this also comes from the time that it came from. There's a lot of nods to the real Ghostbusters cartoon series, so that the tub coming to life was very much in keeping with the ghost toys that they had at the time, where just every object, was turned into a ghost, right?
Right.
So that they could sell the fright features and so forth. Also, Janine, they changed her hair, changed her glasses, made her look more like the character in the cartoon. That was intentional. I feel like there were some missed opportunities. I feel like they could have even done more, but whatever, I think a lot of that, Jason now is, I think, recognizing that and really, really pivoting into the real Ghostbusters love and trying to unify the fandom.
Right. Slasher Fred, yes, this has come up a couple times here on my channel for sure. The Ghostbusters in name comedy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Nurporiel nostalgia. I get it. Hey, Samuel's here. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. As a kid, it scared you. Yeah, see, I get it because it's a PG movie. It does push the edge a little bit. I get it. So.
And I think, and I'm surprised that if you've rewatched it recently, I feel like some of my negativity about it back in the day has abated, and I watch it with fresh eyes, and I go, especially with all the different sequels and reimaginings and all the stuff that we talk about these days, I look at it and I go, okay, if this is the worst you got going, you're doing pretty well. I think 2016 makes Ghostbusters 2 look phenomenal by comparison.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, here's my take. Ghostbusters 2016 is in an alternate universe. Like, if we're going to have multiverses and stuff, it's some other thing. It's not this line franchise. It's not my universe. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that was.
Ghostbusters mainline canon is pretty much confirmed that. This idea of multiple universes and so forth.
So, we can do that. Before I get too much further, if you are a member and you want to come up in here, please let me know. I'll make sure I drop you a link, and you're more than happy to enjoy our conversation as well. So, we can rank them in a second. Let me just say movie rate, soft censorship of content. Yeah, it's really fascinating. We have watched a few things in PG, and Mrs. Pops and I are both like, whoa. I'm like, it's pre-84, know, and it's like, there's booby scenes, there's stuff that's out there. I've
mentioned that many times in like the movie Airplane.
Airplane's a good one. There's actually kind of a risky film that was really well done for what it was doing. It was set in Africa. It's called Zulu. I think it's Michael Caine. And
I remember that one. Sure.
It was like, because I was supposed to watch it for another channel, another show, and I wasn't able, it didn't work out for me to be there for that. But it was like, it's one of those things where you've seen it, you sit down and watch it, and you're sort of like in that shock factor of something like that it's not what you expected because of that's kind of how I felt with that one. So animated series more like the live action. Yeah, the animated series is really, really fun. I will admit I was kind of let down a little bit. Troy had a hard time with the Ghostbusters cartoon, Real Ghostbusters, because how much Slimer matters. He saves the day a lot. It's really geared towards like 7-year-olds. It's really geared not for kids, for young kids, like my grandkids' age kids. Yes. I will say though, it is a good gateway to letting those kids learn ghosts aren't real. I like that idea. Then, because I've had an experience where one of my grandkids has already seen Harry Potter, and now they're afraid of the dark and afraid of monsters. I'm like, we went too young. Something like Real Ghostbusters would have been a better gateway for that. So
exactly, but also you have to remember, just like with Return of the Jedi and the Ewoks, it was all about marketing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I get it.
How else do you sell all the Slimer toys and whatnot?
Well, yeah. I mean,
you make them a character.
Yeah. Nurpoyo, I love the Bobby Brown thing. Okay, so again, I'm just a curmudgeon, I guess. I liked it. It was okay. I liked it. I liked the song more than my rewatch experience. It didn't really change much for me.
There's
okay, that's interesting. So Nerdpoil, I think we will rank them in just a second.
I think Nerdporial and I probably are like-minded in the idea that you want there to be more. You want there to be more. You want there to be a new theme for each movie, different artist, more that you can go to. Check out, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, and this is not a sponsored stream at all, and we are not affiliated in any way with this channel, but Ghostbusters News on YouTube has a theme song that is done by another channel, the Flux Capacitors, a band that does nostalgic inspired tunes, and he's got a theme song for Ghostbusters News that's very much in that genre of Ghostbusters themes.
Yeah, the ghost locomotive thing is great. That's probably one of my favorite parts of Ghostbusters 2 was Winston with the train sequence was fantastic. Yeah, the matriarchal universe, indeed. Airplane, a movie with boobies, not important right now. No, it's great.
But that's not important right now. Very good. Very good. I got that reference.
That's good. It's very good. Ghostbusters toy, agree with Bill Murray. It had good parts, but wasn't worth. Yeah, it's rough. It was rough, Sam. I get it. Played someone who was terrorized, but now very good. Yeah. And I will admit that too. With watching her in that film, it made me think of a question I would ask her now. It's like, well, do you get more people when you're out and about who ask you or make comments about aliens or Ghostbusters?
Good point. Good
be my question for her. So let's do it quickly. I'll rank them for me. I think Ghostbusters ages like fine wine. This movie has moved into like an elite status for me of like 9.5. Like it is it's 4.5 stars. It's so solid. I don't even know. It's hard to call something a 5 because something 5 it just transcends as a comedy. It is like it's that sweet spot for me. I don't hate on Afterlife. I think Afterlife closed out the trilogy for me. It made it a nice, sweet send off for Egon's character. I thought it wasn't a horrible. I think there's some issues with it. I wish I could just get that script buttoned up like right before they go to production. There's a couple things here and there, but it set up a way of passing the baton. It was set up a way of doing things to move forward. So I have it. Doesn't hold up as well as when I first saw it, but it's a very solid 3 out of 5 for me. Kind of like that, it's rewatchable enough. It's whatever. Ghostbusters 2 is a little bit below that. It's like a 2.5 star. It's like, I don't like the concepts of evil slime and the Statue of Liberty walking, and it just seemed very generic. It feels very first draft for me. I'm like, well, now we've started. Now let's get some Ghostbusters in there, because it never felt that enough. And then Frozen Empire is a disaster. Frozen Empire is a complete nightmare for me. I think it wasted my time. It's not tragic bad like the Matriarchal Universe film is. It's irrelevant. Like no characters change. We didn't really pass the baton. We have new characters we're supposed to care about more. It was a mess. So that's kind of my general ranking of things. I have no desire to watch Frozen Empire again, but I won't rule it out if there's another film, because I'd probably want to brush up on some things maybe, but I don't have any plans of watching Frozen Empire. I don't own it or anything like that. So those are my thoughts on it. Troy, what are your kind of like rankings or thoughts on
my ranking is probably
main films, basically?
My ranking is probably very similar. Obviously, the first one is the best. They literally go in order. So my next highest, although I've said this on other streams and I'll stick to this, I feel like 2 and Afterlife, I kind of put on the same level. 2 kind of drops down. I feel like Afterlife a little bit better than I expected it to be. So I put them like 2 and 3 or tied for 2. And then Frozen Empire, the best thing that I can say about it is that it was opening up possibilities. But I have a big problem with movies that do that. I've been very critical of Marvel films where the story itself was like meh. It was really all just setting up a whole bunch of other stuff, and they got to get away from doing that. Focus on the story, and if there's a leftover thread for another story, that's fine, but focus on this story. But I actually went into greater detail in a video that's exclusive to Rumble, because I didn't know how it would do on this Overlord platform. But I got a little bit into the concept of queer coding and how I have a problem with that in a family film, but even worse, the fact that coding exists anymore. It's like, look, either say it or don't. Do your business or get off the pot.
Now you're going to have memberships. So soon that could be uploaded as a member-only video on. It doesn't have to be monetized, and hopefully will keep you free. They still can have issues from time to time, but you just don't monetize. I don't monetize any of my members' videos. They're already participating in the membership program.
That makes sense.
I will say there are times, by the way, YouTube does not participate well with that. Every now and again, even especially the shorts, they control monetization of shorts. Like, you don't have like the same $sign buttons a lot of times. So just for those of you out there wondering about shorts and things like that, it does. Welcome to the world. It's a complete nuances of things like so. Statue of Liberty walking was fun. Yeah, so many people agree with you, Sam. So many people agree with you.
And I'll be honest, since Ghostbusters 2 with the Liberty walking, they've had what was that? The Doctor Takes Manhattan or whatever. The Angels Take Manhattan or whatever in Doctor Who. With the Statue of Liberty was supposed to be a weeping angel, and I'm like, you know what? Ghostbusters handled it way, way better.
Yeah, I can't do the Who thing. I'm doing the Star Trek original series. Norporio, you're out there. You're my referee of all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that. I don't think I'm up for Doctor Who anytime soon. So for those of you thinking you're going to try to slip that in next, no. In fact, I probably should announce now, but I'll do it now because I don't forget. I'm going to go ahead and restart doing some Batman animated series rewatch videos because I could use the positivity in my life. No offense, Trek, I get you, but what feeds me or like that. So there we go. I think it makes the original film such a wonderful film. During the first half, it feels like you're watching a modern Three Stooges movie because they're teachers who. Okay, all right. And there's here we go. Jacob Ironside's there. Hey man. And Jacob, I said it before. Again, if you remember and you want to come in here and join our conversation, feel free to let me know. Make sure I send you a link. So, and he's not afraid of any ghosts. Of course not. Jacob Ironside's not. No. Shorts have screwed up some channels. Yeah. So there's nuances with shorts. Here's my recommendation with shorts: is make them different.
Yeah.
And you can republish them. So Troy, if he hasn't seen it, he knows that we did a Star Wars conversation a year ago, and a lot of those shorts have been released this year because Pops is learning how to make shorts, and I re-released a couple because I do them and they don't work. I'm learning how to do different things. I'm learning from all these other creators. I'm probably going to do a video on doing shorts this way, and how it can work. What you don't want to do is you wouldn't want to take a whole bunch of Ghostbusters videos, make it 30 seconds. There's nothing that you've done to it other than just take 30 seconds of random stuff from their movie and their content. I think you're going to be paid on that. That's not the best way to do things. That is technically reused content as far as I understand it. And that's what some channels had run into, in my opinion. So again, here's the rules. Ride the rules while you can, but know they can always change. Hence the reason this guy is now monetized. Under the old way, he'd still be frustrated. Like, how do I get the extra 1,000 hours? What do I got? Now it's like, well, at least he can have something to pay for StreamYard. That's my I always say the first goal for us is like, can I make this hobby now net zero? And then could I figure out how to do this or how could I do that? Maybe I could do I could afford to give, like I sell comic books now. It's like, well, I run them through. If I buy a comic book for $8 and I can sell it to you guys for 10, I take those $2 and buy more comic books. I'm not paying my mortgage with those. I'm not paying the mortgage with those $2. Yeah, I'm not paying the mortgage with those $2. I'm just having my hobby. So
yeah.
Padawanabe's in the house. Yes, always remember as a young viewer, seeing the arms come through that seat grabs for you. Yeah, that original movie, man. We're gonna dive into that a lot more. Sure. The other comes between the legs.
As an adult, watch that, and I'm like, that was one lucky extra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cage Corey. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Awesome. In the original movie where Lewis tries to get the restaurant, looks closely brief, you can spot the young Debbie Gibson. Oh, okay, cool.
I did not know that.
I don't think I knew that either. I'm going to jot that down because that's something that the internet will just show me quickly. So we will find that. Debbie Gibson in the Ghostbusters. So thank you so much, Fred.
Always watching. See, and that's what's great about a film that has this kind of rewatchability is that you always find new stuff in it that you didn't know about.
Yep. Rewatching DCAU just to finish Batman Beyond. Didn't realize just how little I saw because I only saw specific reruns cartoon. Yeah. Always find good stuff out there. Daryl the Derelict's in the house. Hi, brother. Hope you're doing all right, my friend. So yeah, let's talk about this original film. We were about the exact same age. My socks came off, man. I love this film. I could not believe how good this film was right from the get-go. I was just loving this film, and it's in this age where there was cursing, but you really weren't supposed to be cursed, and you weren't, it's like, so this movie really was a lot edgier than it feels, folks. I know the PG-13 thing, but for us as kids.
Yeah.
So 13, but not quite 14. Them cursing and being in the room with my mother or grandmother, I forget which one took me for this. I know one of them actually stayed for this. This wasn't one of the drop-offs, Troy, that I've talked about many times where they would leave you.
Right.
I wasn't left. They actually went with me on this one. I think I was probably left for the multiple viewings. Because in Twin Bays and Tampa, they were $1, so I would get left there. So those of you who have not heard me talk about this many, many times, it was like, oh, where do you take this nerd just leave him there. He'll be fine. So yeah, this was very risque as far as language, and like you said earlier, I don't think I picked up on the Sigourney Weaver thing that they were talking about the chair, but yeah, as an adult, I do.
Absolutely. I like I said, by the time we got to Ghostbusters 2, I was kind of really noticing what she was not wearing in that scene. But yeah, I definitely had a Sigourney Weaver crush. I stopped and rewound a bunch of scenes in Alien. So yeah, I kind of picked up on a lot of that stuff. I think I've mentioned this many times before. My mom was way more relaxed about, especially language, nudity, stuff in movies and whatnot. But so obviously Ghostbusters was not an issue for her or for me, but I had a younger brother and he was fine with it, but and he had some developmental issues and he was incredibly sensitive to the scarier moments. So we'd literally, if we had the VHS or whatever, we'd have to skip over the taxi driver scene. That would freak him the heck out. Gotcha. So as soon as you saw the exhaust fumes, it was like pause, skip, whatever. Oh, right. Sorry, excuse me. But
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that was it had some moments, and her talking about "I want you inside me," some things like that. As a kid, I was like, "What did she say?" Like this was a bigger deal than you think. I don't think we talk about it because in '84 we talk about how before Red Dawn, it was the combination of Gremlins and Temple of Doom and Spielberg being involved with some of those decisions or whatever. But Ghostbusters probably contributed a little bit too. Got to be honest.
I did have a conversation with my mom about the character of Peter Venkman, in regards to how creepy he was up to that point. And then once she's possessed, my mother was the one who pointed out to me, she's like, wow, this says something about his character, because he was really, doggishly creepy up until this point. But now, that's not the girl he was interested in. He has an opportunity to take advantage of her and doesn't. That's his point. He's got a definite line in the sand as far as morale. I know that this was my mom low-key trying to,
yes,
teach me something.
But that's what parents did with these movies to us nerds. They trained us up right. And these movies were doing some of that.
There was value to that. See, and that's everyone says these things are problematic. No, they are teaching moments. These are good things to show, so that you can wrestle with this morality. Otherwise, you grow up emotionally stunted, like all the people that would say this stuff is problematic.
So, spoiler alert. New video will be coming, because I got this as they sent me to this to cover. So, yes, I'm rewatching.
Welcome back, Cotter.
The re-release. They're doing some sort of re-release. All 95 episodes are in here. I just got this, so I'll be doing some videos. I watched... pops! Oh, the best. So I already watched one episode and watched it over on Tubi before I opened it up, because I just got it, and it was like, oh yeah. So it's like black guy, Spanish Jew, Italian white guy, white Jew, obnoxious girlfriend pushing the edge of how slutty she's really being or not. Clean jokes, but really funny joke. I mean, it was like, I see. They were really, really teaching us. They were really working on us. So.
I love when I think it was it was probably the first episode where Epstein introduces himself. Juan Epstein. I'm a Puerto Rican Jew, and Cotter says, "Let me guess, your father's Jewish." He goes, "Nope, my mother, Rabinowitz." So that causes you to Epstein.
Yeah, your brain. Yeah, as a kid, I didn't get it. I'm like, all right. Happy Ghostbusters Day to you, Malcolm. Great to see you. Remember the first movie. Yeah, see, you're in that same category where a lot of people have affection for Ghostbusters too. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is part of the legacy that I have to give a little bit more nod to is, this group got to go see it first. So it was a bigger deal for them. True. It was still PG, and it got you into Ghostbusters. So then you see the real Ghostbusters.
Not to mention it being, a holiday. See, that's the other thing I try to help people to understand when they're trying to... Yes, it's great to share the things you loved growing up, but you have to remember that the people you're sharing it with may not connect to it the same way, because it's not just how good the movie was or any of that, but it was sharing it with your friends, associating it with something like the holidays or summer music or being off school or whatever the things were that were all around it that had nothing to do with the movie, but that you associate it with.
And speaking of that, Slasher Red points out the song in the music video. So now, again, MTV is the thing to talk about. Everyone at school is talking about MTV stuff, right? So if the fact that he does this music video, the song goes viral using our term now.
Yes.
So everywhere, every hour on the radio, it was going to be played.
Right.
100%. We're all getting out of school. So if you haven't seen Ghostbusters, you will now want to go see Ghostbusters ASAP, and you'll have opportunity. I mean, so this was just the perfect timing.
It's like cross marketing.
100%. It just and they really, and this is one of the biggest flaws with modern entertainment. I don't want to derail our conversation. And that is the move away from all of this marketing strategy. It's like, it's just, we're just going to release these $20-$30 action figures for the adults. We're not going to have a rollout with all the, we do these product placement type things, and it's like, it's so discombobulated to what things were like then. Oh,
there's very few. There's some. So I can go this way. These Mego Ghostbusters, right? You can look at them as being collectible. There was a limited run of them, and so on and so forth. But because they're Mego, you see that Mego right there, very affordable. These are not as expensive as NECA and those other high-end figures, even though they're in the same scale. So kids could totally buy these and play with them, and parents feel perfectly good about that. But you're right, not enough toys are doing that. You got this plasma series and all this kind of stuff, high-end, expensive. Now there's a HasLab that they're hinting at that's coming out in the fall. People are speculating it's going to be a plasma scale, so real large Ecto-1. That's going to go for like $500. That's not something the kids can play with, you know? So this is the problem. Yes, you make a lot of money right now on old farts like us, but you are not seeding the next generation, and you are killing the franchise that way.
They can just do both. Just perfectly honest, we've grown up. I have 5 kids, and now we're getting ready to have grandkid number 6. So I don't know if that's been said here on the channel or not, but yeah, grandkid number 6 is coming soon. They can make that expensive, high-end collectible Ecto-1, $500 one. Yeah. Right? We all had some little toy truck, some little thing that was so cheap plastic. It was just very rudimentary.
Yep.
You could still make that
thing. Played the heck out of that.
And tear it and for just $10. You just got to do something to plant the seed with that little kid about that Ecto-1, that he loves it, and then later on he'll be this diehard fan. He'll be buying all the 4Ks and all. I'm just telling you guys, they don't understand. You can do both. It's not that hard. So, Princess Leia Rose in the house. She's also a member. So, yeah, again, if you want to join us, feel free to let me know. Be happy to send you a link. Oh, someone's in the house. Hashtag 40 pops. Whoa, that feels good. The only day I'm going to get that. Talk hard, indeed. Visual masterpiece. The cost delivery line is so good. I simply listen to this film and be satisfied. Granted, I've seen this movie like 100 times. 100% agree. And just brilliance. I mean, just the comedic timing and just they just knew how to play off each other. These are just so talented. So
there was a great synergy, not just between the guys that knew each other from Saturday Night Live, but then you bring in the SCTV guys, and they were still very simpatico. They clicked.
Bad told me that Ghost Library freaked me out as a kid. It really helped me. The library, and it looked a lot like the one he went to. Yeah. Oh man, that ghost is so brilliantly done. Just incredible.
Did you know that was a reused prop? That
ghost? What's that? Is that the Poltergeist one?
No, it was what was that one with the ghost or the vampire that lives next door?
It's
Fright Night.
Fright Night, yeah.
It was made for Fright Night and not
they didn't use it,
or the other way around. I forget.
I don't think they used it. Yeah. This was also part of the fun of this, and I hope that again, there's been some new creators in the circle we get to interact with, and people that we really, hopefully, we can continue. And we should probably do dedicated shows to talk about these kinds of things. Like during Star Wars Day, we briefly talked about how, George's response to the cantina was, "There's not enough aliens and monsters in here. We got to go." They'll go to Rick Baker, and it's like, grab this devil mask and this werewolf mask, and it was just like this. That's why there's these not alien creatures in the cantina, because that's what they had to do, because that's how George. And again, that was way too loud for George. George talks down here. He's kind of like this. He's really George is. All right. Jason Reitman in Ghostbusters 2, he plays the bratty kid. Yes, indeed. My dad says you guys are full of crap. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, indeed. He-Man. All right, seeing it in the theater. Yeah, agree. We briefly touched on that, but I can close my eye. I talk about this a couple of times a little more. I've not done this enough, and now I do, because it brings me happiness and joy. I can close my eyes, visualize that auditorium, those places with the cloth seats, and this just I can find a movie trailer on YouTube, and really can, like, I don't say relive it, but you can really put yourself there again.
And this is why so many of these movies are being re-released now, so that you can see them in the theater again. And I am not even the slightest bit surprised that re-releases of great movies are doing better than what is first run these days.
100%. Not shocked at all. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
The biggest thing right now is you know what you're getting. You feel like there's also a lot more pause now because of the cost benefit with pricing too. So
true.
Dempsey, that was a bit. This was early. This was Pops didn't have a channel, but he had a channel called Pops, and got a phone call, not an email, with Mrs. Pops. I think it was like a Saturday. Hey, we want you to go out to this place where they'll have all these movie cards. If you can cover it for us. And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. What kind of coverage do you want? We need video. Oh, and then we need this. And so I was like, okay. And anyway, part of what I got to do was be like, I went in the little kids line, kid you not, put in front of the green screen like I was driving Ecto 1 for the Walmart commercial.
Wow.
And that was how I got that little bit. So yes, that was me driving the Ecto 1. That's where that came from. It's
not
me.
how I thought it was done. I really thought that it was
Beautiful.
done separately, where you did the pantomime and then put yourself into an Ecto 1.
They did it for me, and
Wow.
I got to sit in Ecto 1. I don't even know where all the photos are. I had to dig through my download stuff off my phone. So yeah, Ecto 1 was there. Kit Knight Rider was there.
Yep.
Blues Brothers. It was just like there was like Jurassic Park. There was like 6 or 7 of these things there. They were on tour. They were going on tour, and they were going to go to this big Walmart. I don't know if it was a Walmart open. I don't even remember.
You want to hear
like
a terrible sin on my part?
2018 or 19 or so. So yeah.
Here's a terrible sin on my part. We live just a few miles away from the Volo Auto Museum, where they have a lot of those cars, including an Ecto 1, including I think they got a DeLorean there. They've definitely got a couple Batmobiles.
Yep.
Never been. I've never actually been there. And it's a permanent thing that I could go any weekend.
There you go, Netter. Your next anniversary.
And Netter's looking at me like, why not?
Once she was possessed, Vegman went to work. He was comically creepy, but all business when he needed to be. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He kind of had a good soft way of handling the business part. It was serious. It was like, wait a minute, this is actually affecting someone. His demeanor does change a little bit.
You see a great deal of character growth there, right? Because he is like a big child, but he gets serious when it's time to get serious. You know, he takes that leadership role, and whereas he takes the back seat when it's all science and planning and this and that and silly, but when you're in the combat situation, he's like, no, you, and you. Do. Sorry, I keep hitting the mic. See, I'm monetized, but by no means professional.
Dempsey says he's a huge Scrubs fan. Notice that the streaming services have changed a ton of the stuff that they offer. Yeah. It's one of the problems you ran up to, I guess, with the digital content. They could definitely be modified.
I feel you, man. I'm no Superman.
Janine is a perfect example of a forward woman.
Yeah.
Who'll ask a man out. Yes, folks. Yes. Yeah, did it. Yeah, I know. She's a great character. She's a great character. Zach's in the house.
Not just asks him out. She jumps him.
Zach's. Yeah, she's like just climbed on him, but throws a leg over and the whole thing.
Yep.
And Zach's again. If you want to be in here, just let me know. I'll throw you the link. As many members that want to join in, let me know. I think Afterlife's definitely a callback to the original for sure. Annie Potts is terrific for sure. I don't know if you guys see that this is characters. Aykroyd Murray made cameos and deleted scene in the original playing 2 bums. Oh, Trading Places.
Yes. In fact, I have the novelization. Do I have that right here? I do. I have the novelization right here of both 1 and 2 reprinted together. And the very opening scene is those 2 characters talking. They set the stage for the entire story in the novelization.
Gotcha. Cool. The Lego Guitar Hero has the Ghostbusters song. That's so much fun. That's good to know.
Again, cross-licensing. That's good. Yeah. Good marketing.
They told the voice actors not to copy any of the characters from the movie. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know if there was going to be licensing issues, likeness royalties, or things like that. So I've always assumed that's why they changed things. So lovely. Sherry is in the house. Great to see you, lady.
Hey, Sherry. Good to see you.
Yeah, this is just a great scene. A lot of love for the different sequences and that kind of thing. The iconic classic "They Live," the final confrontation, that PKE meter. Yeah. We did a talk hard on "They Live," and I pointed out the PKE meter. Just makes me smile every time I see it. There you go. See why he's here, guys? See why he's here? Yeah, Belushi was supposed to be Venkman. Favorite lines. We should probably run through some favorite lines because there's so many great moments. It's such a quotable movie. Oh, there's Toasty.
Don't.
Toasty's back in the house. Favorite lines, my friend?
Favorite lines? Oh, unfortunately, I'm going to butcher it. I'm not going to get it right. Where Venkman and Stantz are out in front of the, I want to say the library. No, it wasn't the library. They're out in front of a building, and he's talking about, you haven't worked in the private sector before. They expect results.
Right. Yes, they're at the campus when they're being kicked out.
That's right. And it really sets the stage for the very concept. This is an action-adventure, comedy, supernatural story, but there's definitely an underlying theme of economics, and, small business and, fighting against the regulatory system.
10 years later, and MTV doesn't even bother to keep up to date on their photos because the photos out of date.
Yeah.
So they deleted the photo on their server. That's why that happens, folks. Some of the best lines. This is a really good one. Egon, somehow it reminds me of the time you try to drill a hole in your head. Do you remember that? And he's like, yeah, you hadn't stopped me. It would have
worked too if you hadn't stopped me. I believe to this day that was, and some people say, nope, it's in the script. I think that was, in the early filming, that was an ad-lib that they added to the script.
Okay.
Can't prove it, but I believe it.
Yes. My uncle thought he was Saint Jerome. Well, I'll call that a big yes. Yeah, it was really good. I love that with the librarian. And then there's like the whole, menstruating. What's that got to do with anything? It's like, back off. I'm a scientist. And then, of course, that's gone viral with everybody talking about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of those lines kind of hit differently in the post-pandemic era.
Oh, yeah, this is the Janine. I have a lot of hobbies. I also play racquetball. Do you have any hobbies? I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Yep.
Always great.
I love the fact that they tip their hat to that one in Afterlife.
Yes.
When you're going through the basement, you see all the spores,
yes, that was a good nod. Yeah. This was a good nod that went from the first movie to the second movie, where Dana's like, you don't act like a scientist, you're more like a game show host, which, of course, he is a game show host in the second movie. Well, he's not on a game show; he's a talk show host. But yeah,
that's another element of the writing of Ghostbusters that I think is underappreciated. It's very self-aware, and so it does. If they're not setting something up, they look back at it and go, "I'm going to just grab a hold of that thread and do something with it."
Winston getting a good softball too. It's like, do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography, telekinetic movement, full trance medium, to Loch Ness monster, and the theory of Atlantis? There's a steady paycheck in it. I'll believe anything you say.
Which, again, that to me speaks to the economics thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going to get a job. He's not there to be a Ghostbuster. He's there just to get a job because he's out of work for whatever reason. We don't know all of his backstory, but he's just looking for a reason to, if on the job training, yes, I'll do that. You want me to carry this and I just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Yep. You want me to believe it? I'll believe it. I just need a job.
Yep. Let me carry this particle nucleon accelerator on my back. Sure. Yep. That's what I'll do.
I mean, you guys are all doing it. Must be safe, right? Okay, I'll do it.
I feel so funky. Yes, after being slimed. Yes, indeed. The epic rap battle of history of the Ghostbusters versus Mythbusters is amazing. Okay. Cool.
I want to see epic rap battle between the Ghostbusters and the Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters. The Filmation ones.
Yeah. Great entrepreneurs. Yeah. Back off, man. Yes. Cannoli's in the house. Hey, Cannoli. He slimed me, Ray. And it's like, and Spengler was like, save some for me. Yes.
Tell him about the Twinkie, Ray.
Tell him about the Twinkie. What about the Twinkie? Yes, that's a big Twinkie. Yes, that's the bedroom, and nothing happened in there. Oh, what a shame.
I'm a little fuzzy on this bad concept. Yeah. Okay, good important safety tip. Don't cross the streams.
Okay. The only one to catch the biblical implications of everything was awesome. The rest of them were so smart, but they were blinded by the obvious truth of it all. Because of the Book of Revelation stuff. Yeah, they're the whole science thing, right? So they kind of set that up.
And that's another thing where Winston comes in and just kind of grounds them, right? Because let's face it, if any of the other Ghostbusters are going to be open to the spiritual, and I mean like godly spiritual elements, right? It would be Ray. right? And he's aware of it. He's knowledgeable about it, but he's not keyed into it. And it takes that conversation that he has with Winston for him to go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you know? And then he ends up getting it tattooed on his arm, we see, in Afterlife. What does that tell you? It tells you he understands his shortcomings, and he's going to remind himself permanently that there are truths around us that he's not paying attention to.
Yeah, it's really good. It was so good. Cannoli, yes. Pops would definitely be the Bill Murray character. You think so? I don't know. People that probably know me, I'm probably more of one of the other nerds. I'm not smart enough or really into the occult stuff to be a Ray or Spankler, but I'm kind of more that than Venkman. But it's one of those pie charts of who you are on the list, a pie chart, and it's like I'm more Venkman of like breaking down the door and doing the crazy things or getting in the face of the city officials and not having any, and then definitely a little bit of a skirt chaser back in the day. This is the brilliance
of the writing of those characters, because you are supposed to identify with all four of them.
Yeah, that's true. Should be a pie chart. Yeah, so I am probably more Venkman than the other characters, but at this point also a lot more Winston with some of the stuff too. So yeah. And Jacob Ironside as well. 8 months, bro. Oh my gosh. I collect spores, molds, and fungus. It was one of the best lines. Love it so much. The temple, the demon dogs, frightening scene. Indeed. The movie was one of those things where I wasn't old enough to really be scared by it. It's the rewatches though, as I've heard about people being scared. I'm like, oh, I get it. Yeah,
I think it was on your last Ghostbusters talk that you had me on. It was just about that time that I realized there was a joke I was missing all these years, and that was the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper. There's a symbolism there that's so obvious to an adult and to a child all these years. So I finally was like, are you the Keymaster? She's the Gatekeeper. Oh! And of course Netter looks at me and she's like, seriously?
It's been 39 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Cats and dogs living together. It's mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria.
Oh, so good. Yes. The have some line is so brilliantly delivered, makes you laugh every time. Yeah. It's just, and again, Rick Moranis doesn't get enough love, right? Because Rick Moranis pulls off these, the goofy accountant stuff, and then later, of course, when he's possessed, they have the colander on his head. And
yes.
So brilliantly done.
I did not realize until just recently that there, because of the way that Sigourney Weaver plays, her character, her possessed character, and the way he plays his possessed character has direct impact on how they characterize those same characters in Afterlife. Vince Clortho is a complete klutz, and they play it that way in Afterlife, just like they do in the first movie. True.
And guys, I got to wake up today, and it was really kind of cool. So the city of Los Angeles did something well. They honored to kick off Ghostbusters Day with a resolution officially declaring July 8th as Ghostbusters Day. They partnered with the Starlight US, which is like one of these like Make-A-Wish type things that helps kids and that kind of thing. So
cool.
That was kind of a cool thing that they did there. Nice. Shared a few photos. That was really good. I'm really happy about that. And there we go. Got great cosplay and stuff like that, of course. And that kind of takes me into my question for you, Troy. Like there is sort of I did a short on this. We talked about it a little bit a couple times on the channel. It's like the franchise feels way bigger than it should by having one great movie and then this other stuff. And it's like, I credit a lot of the cosplay. I credit a lot of the fan. We talked about this before, many other IPs, but it's like because of the fan love of the gadget and the gizmos and the cosplay and an Ecto-1 and all of that. That actually is why the franchise is the way it is, in my opinion.
I absolutely agree, and you really have to credit like I said, that cross marketing, the real Ghostbusters, the whole storyline within the real Ghostbusters, and the video game too. Both of them had a story element of this concept of a franchising of the Ghostbusters to other cities. It kind of makes sense. They extend that into Extreme Ghostbusters and so forth. The role-playing game gets into that concept, this idea that every city is going to have their own ghost-busting unit, that it's going to be tied in. And I think they're taking and running with that. We see it in Ghostbusters, the Frozen Empire. It's like they're going to continue this concept, which has allowed for local fans to declare themselves the Chicago Ghostbusters or the New York Ghostbusters, whatever. And yeah, all the you have the cosplayers out there that do all the work to figure out how to recreate these props. And as we always see now, Hasbro is behind the 8-ball trying to go, okay, well, now we've got to do movie accurate proton packs and PKE meters and so forth. But some of the fans are going, screw it, I already got mine. I've already made mine. And others are going, well, there's my gateway into it. There you go. And you'll notice that that's the blue real Ghostbusters, because that's all we had as kids at the time. It wasn't very movie accurate. Yep. There's an evolution to it. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely an evolution.
And then he's passing it on to his kid.
My brother had one of those, yeah.
That's great.
And that's why I'm so glad that now, Party City is putting out the cheap stuff. That's for the kids, right? The adults can wear it to their Halloween party, but then the kids can play with it. And then the adults can upgrade to the HasLab or the, whatever, the Etsy store, real expensive thing or whatever. And yeah, so there's a site called Ghostbusters International that you can go, and there's a registry for all the different Ghostbusters local groups that you can find. I've unfortunately been very put off by the ones in Illinois. Everybody has their Ghostbusters badge that's unique to their location, but Illinois has decided that all behind them they're going to put multicolored flags, and I was very, very put off by that. I don't think that has any
things
place
that are
in
not Ghostbusters related being added as well. Yeah, I get it.
And the Klingons, unfortunately, up in Canada are doing the same thing, and I'm like, look, no, this is not. This has no place. This does not belong.
And Afterlife's character podcast reminds me of the two characters in the underrated 80s classic Better Off Dead. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'd have to watch Better Off Dead again. I watched it in a minute.
I actually
like podcast.
I actually keyed into podcast and even the other kids to a smaller extent in thinking about the Extreme Ghostbusters. I'm like, okay, I see that very on brand. It makes a lot of sense.
The Ghost experience was an odd addition to the movie. It makes things uncomfortable when I watch them with my kid. I always talk about that scene and distract from. So yeah, I think you're talking about Frozen Empire for sure. Okay. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's an animated special called Cartoon Stars to the Rescue, which involved a teen with a drug problem, Slimer, from the real Ghostbusters appeared in it. Oh, no, I do not know what that is. All right, Jacob's going to join us. Let me send him a link.
Awesome.
I think I did, but I will send it again if I need to. I enjoy Paul Rudd in the new movie. I would have rather seen him with the original cast. That in mind, Ghostbusters 3 got made. Any recruit you would have liked to see, like Candy or Farley. Yeah, they were both considered, of course.
Right. Both.
I don't know.
Great.
It's all so hard to imagine differently in the original films. I don't. Yeah.
A lot of people do the whole Eddie Murphy instead of
right.
In the role of Winston. I think it would have been a very different character, very different role. I'm actually kind of glad it worked out the way it did.
Dempsey was talking about the original Ghostbusters with the ghost scene with Ray. Yeah, that ghost. Sorry, we missed the wrong ghost. We understand now what you mean. Got it. Sorry, picking up what you're throwing down now.
See,
Winston
and that's
was gonna
another
be
one
Eddie.
that because they made it a dream sequence. It would have been a very different hit if they'd gone with the original script, where that whole scene where he and Winston are in the car and they're talking about Revelation. They were on their way to this particular incident that Ray ends up, with a ghost.
Got it.
And there was even supposed to be a later scene that established that he wanted to continue a relationship with that ghost.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I don't have a problem really with the afterlife. My issue again with Frozen Empire was really just missed opportunities without forget about the plot stuff, just the idea of why, because you set everything up to move forward, and at the end of the day, I don't feel like they did. Do you think there'll be another film?
I do, because they're already in the works with another cartoon series, and the franchise. Look, we were talking about marketing, and we often joke about Spaceballs, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made. It's true. That's
100%.
why it's funny, is because it's true. They make more money off of the toys and the costume stuff and the licensing than they do from the movie itself. So I was just watching a YouTube video about Ghostbusters, and the host was being a little critical of Afterlife in that it just barely made back its investment, and they went ahead with a sequel. And I'm like, yeah, because that's not all the money they made. You're only looking at the movie made. The movie making back its money is kind of like what we were talking about, YouTube being monetized and being able
It's
to
a
break
zero.
even. I can afford to pay for itself, and this is my hobby. Same thing. The movie paid for itself. That's fine. The money is being made on the marketing. That's why it will get a sequel. And so yeah, I'm saying the same thing about Frozen Empire. This franchise is too valuable, and they haven't killed it. They've actually brought it back, if anything else.
Yeah, I also agree. I think that it can be done, and I also think that they can kind of, because Frozen Empire didn't really mess anything up either, though. It's sort of like it doesn't really change anything, so it really isn't that hard to do another movie because you don't really have any major changes. You just got to do something.
Yeah.
So,
And
but with doing something,
I do feel like there are still some marketing missteps I think they're missing out on. I think, but the nice thing is that Ghost Corps is very open to listening to the fans. So you can communicate through various means with Ghost Corps and tell them, hey, you're missing out on this, you're missing out on that. And the two things that Ghost Corps needs to focus on: number one, get Ecto Cooler back out there again. The fans will buy it. Number two, role-playing game. Re-release it. Do whatever licensing you need to do to get that role-playing game back out, because that role-playing game kind of revolutionized role-playing games. It took everything from the D20 Dungeons and Dragons, lots and lots of stats concept to a simple D6, much more cinematic, easy for even kids to learn kind of role-playing game. So get back on it, Ghost Corps.
all right. Well,
Because we know they're watching us right
we
now.
have to do something here for a minute. Jacob Ironside is in the house. How are you doing, brother? What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good. I
Happy
was going to come in
Ghostbusters
with a
Day.
quote, but I fumbled it.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. Great to have you. Happy Ghostbusters Day to you, my friend.
Hey, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Mom Ironside's out there.
Ironcast.
Happy
Come on,
Ghostbuster to you, Mom.
Ironside.
Hope you're doing well.
I'm on.
She's
I muted it.
excited to talk about Ghostbusters too. That's all.
There you go. Exactly. Because all ages love Ghostbusters.
That's true. Jacob will sort that out. Because have either of you looked into the Tunguska blast of 1909 compared to the events of the first? No, I don't know.
Yes. So that that is very much alluded to in Afterlife, because when they're going through the tomb and whatnot, and there's all the dates.
Hey guys,
you realize that
y'all.
there are these
Sorry about
dates
that.
line up with different events. See, this was another thing that this other YouTuber was very critical about, saying, "Oh, there all this time has gone by, and Gozer hasn't tried to take the world back, even though he could have done it at any time." No, because if you paid attention in Afterlife, he couldn't. There were only certain times that he could, and it looks like there's stories that happen, like the Tunguska Blast and so forth, that some Ghostbuster, someone, not Ghostbuster literally, but spiritual Ghostbuster, prevented it. There's always been heroes throughout history that have been fighting this fight. There is a great deal of implied lore there, if you're paying attention.
Samuel, thanks for hanging with us for so long, brother. Be safe.
Take care, buddy.
Jacob, my friend, happy Ghostbusters. What's going on, man?
Hey. Good, man. Sorry about that.
You're fine. You're quite our younger,
there.
so talk about your first Ghostbuster experience. Oh, he's back. Charcoal bin.
Oh man, I can't say I have a real big experience, but I just grew up watching these movies and had fun with them. I mean the jokes back and forth between them, and it's just great movie.
It's aged like fine wine, my friend. I tell you what, I watch the original one several times a year. I didn't think I watched it as often as I do, and I realized, oh yeah, I do. I've watched it probably 2 to 3 times a year now. And then, like I said, I don't watch the second one, but I get it, I understand it. And then, of course, Afterlife, I'm sort of in a place where I have no problem watching it again, but I don't think it's really in any rotation or anything I really watch. But yeah, it's kind of where we are, and it's really kind of fun to think about the 40 days. We wouldn't have this if it wasn't for today. How much it took to get it to this point, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, and Dempsey's with you, Jacob. That banter, that on-screen banter, man, it's just superior, man. Superior stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I also like the Rick Moranis always locking himself out of his apartment.
Yeah, little gags like that keep it going, because there's never
that part where Bill Murray comes out of what's her name's apartment. He locked himself, and he's like in this awkward position of being stuck outside while this.
Yep.
is hilarious.
I love it.
He's a very physical actor, and it's great. He's really good.
And as Dempsey says, he locks himself out of everything, but he is the key master. How many people at home don't just now getting that gag? It's like, yes, that gag is massive. Yes, it's so good. Indeed.
Which also, well, and you could even dig even further into the lore on that, whereas the keymaster and the gatekeeper are so crucial to the spell or whatever that needs to be done for Gozer to come through, and he fails because any little element that isn't set up prevents him from being able to come in and destroy the world and whatnot. So that the keymaster is his weak point, right?
Yeah, good stuff. Jacob, do you watch Ghostbusters 2 a lot? What are your thoughts on Afterlife?
Afterlife, it was okay. It wasn't big for me. I mean, it was better than the 2016, of course, but
we know what you're talking about.
I know,
that was some sort of matriarchal universe.
It didn't have the same Afterlife didn't have the same spirit to it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It was an okay movie, but it wasn't the original, the first one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any argument with that assessment for sure. And I just think it's just true. It's like, and Paul Rudd wasn't even given material to be Venkman. Like, he's really not. He's really just plain Paul Rudd. He just kind of goes around in a very humorous, likable demeanor that kind of holds the group together. And compared to the original Ghostbusters, where, I mean, they're all just the top tier comedians of this era, and it's just it's phenomenal. So
I can sum up the whole, because you had said that the first Ghostbusters aged like fine wine. 2016 aged like milk.
Yeah. I wouldn't know what you're saying because I've not watched it at all. Like,
trust me.
if I have to give it a score, I'm like, it might get a star, and that's only because Chris Hemsworth actually has to act in that film. Like, it's so unbearable. I didn't even. The irony is, I first watched it the first time, and I didn't even hate it as much as everyone else hated it. Like, I'm like, because the hate was so extreme. I actually went in probably with even lower expectations. Hence the reason I didn't hate it as much. But it's so unwatchable and it's just so unlikable. There's just nothing that felt right.
I would say it aged like bad milk.
It was already bad milk when it came. Yeah, right. Yeah, we got bad milk when it arrived. We just kept getting.
And unfortunately, we've got too many people that go and they take the milk and they find it chunky and they go, well, let me just put it back in the fridge and we'll see if it's better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
Dempsey didn't like the Statue of Liberty either. Okay, yeah, me neither, brother. I'm with you there. I just don't care for the film. Just like it's just meh for me.
See, I say the same thing about Ghostbusters 2 that I say about a number of the Star Trek movies like Insurrection and stuff. They're not bad. It's like a movie version of a TV show. It's just another episode. Star Trek Insurrection was like a 2-hour episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. And honestly, I feel like Ghostbusters 2 was like a live action version of the real Ghostbusters. It's just an episode. It's not earth shattering. We kind of want more from a cinematic experience, but it was okay and enjoyable.
I would say that I think that when the lights came on about the PG versus PG-13 for me about Ghostbusters 2, I feel like I can give it a lot more grace and mercy than I did before in that regard too. So, what is, Jacob, your thoughts on why, because we're only talking about like one fantastic movie, an okay movie, a pretty solid kid show, some good merch, whatever. But why is this IP kind of, in this like realm? Like it's really, really a pretty well thought of IP. A lot of fandom, diehard fans.
I don't know. That's a hard one to pick out.
We kind of went with like we think
the movie, the first movie is like they got the lightning in the bottle for that first movie. And
agreed.
I think people, I don't know. It's a not just a fun movie, popcorn movie. It's an actually good movie. It's not just something you'll go see to pass the time. It's an actual movie that you enjoy watching over and over again. I mean, you can say that with the Alien, first two Alien movies and Predator. I mean, they all have that, not just being a fun movie, but a good movie. So I think that's a big part of it, and why it's so popular.
Yeah, I definitely would venture to say that's the key element. You have to have a solid rock to build on. But for me, I think that we just see so much cosplay and just love of all that kind of stuff. I think that's what kind of gave it some legs for years.
I think
Right.
Jacob's referring to it as a lightning in a bottle is so true. It's not something you can plan, right? They didn't. You can't reconstruct it. And I think that's evidenced by how well the first movie is regarded and how mediocre to poor the second movie is, because they were trying to reproduce that, and you can't. If you start analyzing and thinking it through, it's like AI art. It's like, that's a bit off. It's not natural. And that's kind of what they do when they try to PG a PG-13, something that should be more PG-13, for example. If you I mean, look at you mentioned Aliens too. Aliens was not made to be a family thing or enjoyable to kids, and yet, because wasn't it R-rated? I'm pretty sure it was R-rated.
Oh, the first Aliens for sure is R-rated.
Yeah,
100%.
And yet, kids, there were toys for it, and kids did end up eventually watching it and loving it. Don't make it for kids. Make it for adults, and let the kids discover it in time. Let it be that slow burn. And the whole McDonald's thing with Batman and the marketing. No, too bad. Batman is what Batman is. We're going to do the marketing that we're going to do. And when you feel the kids are old enough to go see it, let them go see it, even if it's, 5 years from now, and they'll already have the toys and, they're going to see the movie, regardless of what the parents want and not. Don't spend so much time, analyzing the minutia. Just make the movie. Just do it. And it'll take off, even if it's not immediate. Slow burn, let the marketing absorb the money over time.
Yeah, I don't even remember. So the marketing for Ghostbusters, I feel like came from Ghostbusters' success. So,
Yep.
Jackie, we're going to talk from old guys' stories. So it wasn't like the Star Wars action figures and comics. And Ghostbusters just become a hit. The song was a big deal.
Yep.
Shirts become a big deal. That would be the first thing selling the cassette tapes and the shirts and things like that. And then you would start to say, oh, wait, we should do a cartoon and we should sell some stuff and we should make some stuff. Yes, that's fine. So I think there's a fine way to kind of pivot off of a good idea and have good merch and good planning. There are other things that the marketing should be part of the central planning, right? Because I criticized Super Mario Brothers. I was like, how could you go into this movie and not know this was going to be this massive hit, at least for little kids? I should have walked into a Walmart and there should have been like a whole aisle of this stuff. And it was barely a section. Like it was such a good representation of how bad planning is. So as we move forward, it's like Ghostbusters is already an established IP. There's going to be good opportunities here. I think that kind of what you said earlier, Troy, I think there's a good way to find that balance. Jacob, what are your thoughts on how do we find that balance of, I think Ghostbusters, it's an easy one, right? Because it can kind of be family friendly, but you can also kind of be a little bit edgier under that PG theme umbrella. It's different than Aliens. I got to put Aliens on the shelf. That's not to me, it's not a good apples to apples because it is a kind of a rated R horror driven type franchise. When they make it PG-13, you're losing what made it popular, in my opinion. Whereas Ghostbusters, I think, is a lot more universal.
The balance there. What do you mean by the balance?
The adult versus
Just the balance
children thing, yeah.
Family and
with something like Ghostbusters, I think it works.
yeah, I think it does. I mean, little kids might be scared by the ghosts, but yeah, if you're older kids and family, yeah, I could see that.
I didn't even find the ghost in Frozen Empire scary. It just felt like a Harry Potter character walking around.
No,
like it didn't work at all for me. Yeah.
I think that
I mean, I haven't seen that one, but yeah, that's what they look like in the trailers. They don't look that scary or anything.
Yeah.
Something you mentioned earlier about or maybe it was one of the comments, I think, said something about the way that our MPAA rating system is a form of what's the term, suppression, and whatnot, and stifling of free expression and whatnot. I really do feel like we need to start treating this whole rating system as parents. I mean, parents of children should look at the rating system, use it as a guide, but not necessarily, be pearl clutching. Go see the movie. Go see the movie and say, yes, this is PG-13 or this is R, but I see why it is, and I don't really have a problem with my kids seeing it. you know. And I think that's always the way it was. But now there is this marketing idea that, oh, no, kids will never see it if it's rated R. Kids will never see it if it's PG-13. And it's like, first...
The irony is it's so much easier to see now than ever.
Yeah. First, yes, they will. Yeah. And second, even if they don't, eventually they will. Yeah. Plan for the future. That's the other thing, too. I think that these companies want to see their... Hell, it used to be they needed to see the return on investment from the ticket sales. Now it's we need to see the return on investment within the first week of the release of the film.
Yeah,
and crazy. It's like, guys, this is an investment. Investments don't necessarily work that way. You get it out there, there's a slow burn, there are legs, there's re-releases, there's marketing. Just cool your heels and work this thing.
Yeah, good content will deliver appropriately. Yeah. She is in the house. We'll go back to Dempsey's comment real quick about aliens. 100% agree. Dempsey, my take on this is there's a whole video with me and Vex. They're apples and oranges. They shouldn't be compared to each other. True. Sci-fi horror versus sci-fi action. They're literally like dotted lines in the same franchise. It's almost like two different experiences, isolated, horror situation on a spaceship versus an action attack sequence on like a nest of these things, two completely different things. And now the franchise doesn't really quite know what lane to be in. But yeah, totally get that. Chi, for you, I have a surprise because yes, you've come to the right place. Here you go, Chi. Let's go back.
There's a cereal in the neighborhood. New Slimer ghosts, fruit-flavored oats. Ghostbusters with milk and juice and toast. A complete breakfast with the ghosts.
Ghostbusters! I told you it's glowing. It's the real Ghostbusters cereal.
The first cereal box that glows in the dark with 4 glow-in-the-dark Ghostbuster trading cards.
Slimer!
You gotta have it.
Ghostbusters!
The first cereal box that glows in the dark.
I'm gonna have to get me one of those Ghostbuster cereal boxes to have as a nightlight in my office, just to keep it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Put it where it can get charged up with the window, and then just so it will be the light in here. Because that's like really.
The thing I loved about the cereal tie-ins, they were pretty much always the same cereal. I mean, they were shaped differently. Yeah, they threw in different marshmallows and stuff. Yeah. But the base cereal, this corn pop, crunchy honey cereal, you had it for that. You had it for Donkey Kong. You had it, the C-3PO's cereal was the same. It was all the same cereal.
Casey Kasem has a little unseen cameo. I think that's in the original film. I did not know that either.
Yeah. There's a lot of.
He's the voice on one of the things on the top 10 on the he says the voice right. They in the Ghostbusters danced away the night with the girl, the lady.
Yeah. And there was a lot of talk show hosts and VJs that played themselves in that montage. Yeah,
for sure. Huey Lewis in the lawsuit for the song.
Yep. That's right. Want a New Drug and the Ghostbusters theme was so close. And a big part of that is because they were trying to get Huey Lewis and the News to do the theme song for Ghostbusters. And either he didn't want to or just didn't. And so they went to Ray Parker Jr. And said, we want something that's like, Huey Lewis and the News did for... in the style of that, because they were so big for Back to the Future, and he went a little too much
St. Michael. All right, so the monster is super intriguing. Its possibilities, all the ship, the artifacts, deco, etc. Intriguing. I think it helps a lot. Did you know the art was copied from the drawings made for the movie that never got done, Jaredovsky Dune?
That's a lot of stuff that was done by H.R. Giger for Dune. Definitely inspired, and then they drew directly on Giger's artwork. He ended up doing some.
Ridley Scott flew there to talk with him, I believe.
Yep, and he did some sketches and whatnot.
Yeah, Dempsey. Yeah, 100%. Like I have a day where I was not in school, and let's just say I saw 4 of 6 movies at this one place. So we saw. Wow. Yes, big day. Let's see. Meta moment of Arsenio Hall and Ernie Hudson have a scene interacting in the next movie because Arsenio was Winston Witt's voice in the real cartoon. Yeah, it was. It definitely is very meta for sure.
That's right.
The commercials. I know. I'm kind of a commercial thing. I love my retro commercial. Nothing can feel more like getting in those moments if you can start watching the original thing. So I literally have like 100 Star Wars commercials, and I like a whole. Actually, this year, Troy, I found an entire commercial break. So it wasn't just a Star Wars commercial; it's a commercial break. I think it's like with like a cereal post and like NyQuil, and then the Star Wars trailer. It was it's beautiful. It's like this 2-minute commercial break intact. And it was like, whoa. And it was like the original Star Wars commercial where like the music's not in there and things like that. Just the narration's different. I was like, wow, that is cool. So
I have up on my channel a parody of the Boba Fett mail away advert that I do for for an Akamina mail away for the holiday special. I'm going to be doing a bunch more of those this year as I'm finishing up a lot of my my custom play sets and action figures.
Your voice was done really well in that, by the way. We should just steal your voice away for that. Just you got the you get into that inner Kinner narrator guy there. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
This is we picked up where you're throwing down there, my friend. Go ahead, Jacob.
What happened to all this marketing for movies? I mean, take Star Wars for example. The first 3, it's like there were all kinds of, cereal commercials, Star Wars cereal commercials, toy commercials, all over the place. Mm-hmm. And with these newer movies, it's not even there. I mean, I haven't seen any.
The first phase, in my opinion, is
what happened to that?
Yeah, the first phase is they killed Saturday morning cartoons, right? So we've killed cartoons because they were, quote, brainwashing children to buy stuff. So that was this parent, this weird manufactured parent, this silent group of 10 white Karens, in my opinion, who thought, and the irony is, yes, but had you watched any of those shows with your kids, you would have understood some of the morality that they were learning, some of the lessons they were learning. But clearly that was one of the first phase, was this massive move. A lot of pressure from them. They started having to include a lot of PSAs and things as well during that time. Yeah. So the market got saturated, not just with merchandising and cereal and whatever, but also with like these random PSAs. And they always felt weirdly out of place. It's very rare that a PSA was something that kind of like was smooth within the feel of all that.
Right.
But when you fast forward to now, even with my kids, like, with the prequel movies and then to now, it just seems like the studios themselves, and it has definitely been exasperated by the pandemic and now streaming. They don't have a business plan that's really robust enough, and they don't have fans in the room in the marketing departments that are like, okay. So Jacob, we talked about it earlier. Troy was bringing up a $400 or $500 Ecto 1 thing that's coming out, right? Clearly, it's for adults. Okay, but why is there not one of these cheap plastic ones for like $10 that will be for like my grandson, right? The 4-year-old that is going to completely destroy it, but now will be ingrained in his head about how cool this Ecto 1 was. Exactly. Or in some households, they survive. Like I actually have a couple of toys. I put them on the bottom shelf so they wouldn't get hurt. So I have like an original Buzz Lightyear. We have the original Batmobile. We have a few things from my sons that survived. I'm like, they don't do that, Jacob. They just kind of abandon the kid. The kid stuff it's sad. It's pathetic what is in these kids' aisles now. And it's expensive. I'm not buying my 4-year-old a $20 action figure. I'm just not doing it. Right. I will go to thrift stores and yard sale. I'm back at that. I will go. I make videos to mock Ollie. I go around Ollie's because of the certain Mouse House's toys are filled the place. I mean, it's insane how much stuff is there. The Shang-Chi movie. Remember how popular Shang-Chi was, Troy? He's down to $1.99. There are literally hundreds of them in every Ollie's right now. There's hundreds of them. They cannot move for $1.99.
Between Ollie's and a site out of Asia called Tungori, that's where I get a lot of my off-brand, or not off-brand, but second-hand or reduced price Star Wars action figures to make a lot of the customs that I do. Drunken Poet says, Ghostbusters dropped in the height of the satanic panic. It is difficult to describe anything from the 80s without bringing that up. Let me tell you something. That's Satanic Panic, where everybody was rolling their eyes and saying, you know, the pearl clutching, you know, religious rights. They're nuts, right? Well, what's really sad about that is, unfortunately, it was a lot of crying wolf, getting bent out of shape about nothing. And now, when you start pointing out, wait a minute, a lot of this is actually like real now, people are like, just saying. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of people are doing now, and you start saying, hey, look at what these rich elites are doing. Oh yeah, I remember the '80s and the Satanic Panic. Okay.
Yeah. So if you knew about all this or not, Jacob, but this is back when they would like say that you could play records backward. There'd be all these hidden messages. You know, it's like worship the devil. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So my mom knew I had a cassette tape from Motley Crue. They were on the blacklist. I had taken it to school, and a teacher took it from me. I'm like, I wasn't playing it. She just saw I had it. And it was like, okay, hold on, time out. You know, so it was really just this weird stuff. And I always go back to this because I still don't treat these people as viable representations of even the Christian faith. This is to me, it's the bored Karen syndrome. It's the bored white woman syndrome of today. These are people who just needed something to do. Yeah. And they weren't finding joy and happy, and they just saw some of this debauchery that they manufactured. They took little pieces of things, and sure, there were some racy things happening on MTV and whatever. There was also stuff that would happen on television pretty late at night that we all could stay and watch, especially during the summer. When do you think I watched soap, Troy? Every summer, it was on at TV, so I would stay up to like 2 in the morning. As long as I never complained, I could get away with. So, okay, I'm French, live in Quebec. I remember it like it was yesterday. The commercials for toys in English were so much cooler and better always. That suspense thriller, manly boss boy. Oh yeah. There's definitely some fun commercials, that's for sure. There's a video game 2009, great addition to the first 2 films. Cutscenes might be worth a watch. Written and voiced by original cast, even made by Atari. Oh, very cool indeed. Oh my gosh. So yeah, there's all sorts of crazy hologram cereal boxes and stuff out there for sale. It's crazy. Yeah, Tipper Gore, I think, was a little bit later for sure than the 80s, but yeah, she was part of some of that kind of thing. They have nothing else to do.
Tipper Gore was more for the putting mature ratings on video games.
Yeah, it was a video game stuff, right? Yeah.
I think it was Nancy Reagan mostly. Well, no, Nancy Reagan was the Say No to Drugs one.
It was, right? Yeah, she was into Say No to Drugs. There was just faceless religious right stuff for some of the cartoon stuff. I don't think there's any one person that's really the poster child.
Yeah, you can find YouTube videos about the Satanic Panic of the 80s, and they're always interviewing these, like you said, these soccer moms that were pearl clutching, figuratively, not literally. Usually not literally.
Mary Ellen Trainor. She was the mom in that Ghostbusters 2 party. She is definitely in Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt, I believe I found for free over on Tubi. So then you guys don't know. I think Tubi has them for free. They're kind of fun.
There's a great one with, was it Jerry Stiller? Playing a shock jock who he doesn't realize he died on the way to the radio station. And now he is a demon in hell, continuing to spew his dark, vitriol on the airwaves for all eternity.
Yeah, the Satanic Panic definitely targeted the D&D stuff for sure, and that definitely was very well represented. I think in Stranger Things, thought that was actually done pretty well. It's a good representation of what that like. Ted Gunderson, director of the FBI for New York, Washington, is telling everyone about these things are real. Pastor conspiracy theorists. Think about it, the FBI director. Oh,
yeah.
2 Live Crew was in court. Yeah, but this was that back too, where there was not a lot of profanity on CD, on music, on records, moving into CDs and things like that. It was easier to get music onto CDs. So yes, there was a lot of these lawsuits, things like that. Rap music was very shocking for a lot of folks and things like that. So
I think my biggest problem with censorship and these moral panics and even the rating systems is This is a bunch of middle America people wanting the government to control what your kids view. Why don't you do it?
Correct.
Because when you give control over to the government, they start deciding what goes into your kids' bodies, what your kids do with their bodies, and you give up all control.
Correct.
Just understand that.
Yeah,
Correct.
shout at the devil, not with the devil. Indeed. It's like a pop song, guys. It's so silly.
Yeah, and that's
that's
Ghostbusters too. Are the ghosts in Ghostbusters good? I mean, are they portrayed as something good in Ghostbusters?
Almost
They
never,
are-
no.
Yeah, they're not at all. If
Even-
anything,
So-
even on the lighter side, they're treated as displaced, or you have Slimer, who's treated like a pet in real.
Well,
Ghostbusters,
only
right?
in the cartoon. If you focus on what you see canonically in the movies, he's a pest at best.
Right.
More like an imp. You could still think of him as an imp, which is a kind of demon.
Yeah, we all are in agreement too, St. Michael. It's 100%. Like it's just, and this is where it all went. And again, you're right. This is that Mad and Helmet Laws and Dare, and went from scare you straight with these car accident videos and things like that to seatbelt mandates and drunk driving.
Exactly.
And things
My
like that.
whole
Just
issue
overstepped it.
there was this was when I first, and I was young in the 80s, started to notice that celebrities needed to shut their mouths, because a celebrity I would have otherwise greatly respected, Barbara Mandrell, was real big on pushing the seatbelt mandates. And then she turns around and does adverts for Buy American. If you love that freedom, buy American. I'm like, but if you love that freedom, force people to do what you think is safe.
Yeah, this was also a time where they were trying to make cars cheaper, so it was almost like a vicious circle of what the propaganda was too. Like, we're going to just not make these giant steel vehicles that were exceedingly safe because we're going to make these cheap ones. We're going to import stuff more from Japan and overseas and things like that. So of course they don't want to get sued for how bad these cars are getting shredded into our car accidents. So we'll make the public seem like they should feel guilty for how they live their lives. So. All right, Jacob,
What's
what do you
funny
think?
about that is our vehicles now are like the biggest they've ever been. The top vehicles that are being bought are these 4-door trucks that are huge.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Jacob, where do you think Ghostbusters can go from here? Do you think there'll be a third movie?
I kind of hope not. I mean,
You're certainly not
I
alone.
always
I'm
go
sure there's
back
tons
to
of people out there that agree with you.
better to left wanting more than to, have the junk we have now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get your wish, my friend. I think these things are. And I've said this for 20-something years. I would get into conflict with fans because in their hearts they didn't want more. They say what you say. Like, if it's not going to be a certain type of quality, I don't even want. I get that, but as a company now, because these companies own these things, they're properties, they're line items, they're revenue streams, or things like that. So they got to find a way to kind of tap into some sort of element of a newer generation. I just think the two new Ghostbusters movies, Afterlife, they just did such a poor job of tapping into what Stranger Things did well.
And I saw that Universal Studios theme park is got some Ghostbusters element coming back this year too. So, yeah,
interesting. Universal, huh? Interesting. Just wondering, are your medias or TV commercials filled with small moralizing videos telling you to drink and drive, evil, smoke, drink, and beat your wife and stay?
Yeah.
Well, our Saturday morning cartoons were filled with eat a lot of cereal and eat a lot of Pop-Tarts, and then for lunch go to McDonald's. So a lot of our toy commercials and merchandising. I mean, if there was any takeaway I had from the commercials from our childhood, it was like, man, it is no wonder I have serious eating problems when it comes to the desire for cereal.
You're right.
100%.
Eat junk
Those three.
food, eat fast food, but don't do drugs.
Yeah. I mean, I have a massive weakness for cereal, Pop-Tarts, and McDonald's. I'm like, wow. Yeah. So, and it was a mass amounts of commercial airtime during that era, for sure. 100%. So that's way more common.
Eat food with all these chemicals in them, but don't do drugs.
I don't.
I do remember the Bigfoot pizza.
Yeah.
Was that a Little Caesars promotion or something like that? I can't remember.
Yeah, Dempsey. I
It
don't
sounds right.
remember for sure, but yeah, it
I
sounds like
remember
Little
that.
Caesars. Little Caesars has always. Domino's had some great commercials. They went through the Zoid phase and some stuff like that. Domino's had some good commercials. Pizza commercials used to kind of really be a big thing. Not so much. Roman is in the house. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing well.
Ahoy.
Yeah, then Rosie attacked Tom Selleck on her show about
It was
firearms.
Pizza Hut? Okay.
Yeah, just people doubting. Pizza Hut. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Pizza Hut Bigfoot.
It'll be interesting to see. I will say, at Ollie's, you can get that some of the toys have missed. So even though we talk about the old toys or we talk about stuff from Disney, Ghostbusters had its fair share of. I think I did a quick video about their version of the proton pack, and they're terribly made. They're just crap. They don't really do anything. So I can see why kids didn't want them.
Right.
Like you gotta, kids have to want them. It has to be in line with their element of pretend. It can't be so bad that the kids can't pretend with it. 'Cause that's what they have to do. They got to have people. Again, maybe every marketing executive needs to watch the movie Big and understand what the kids want to play.
Exactly. This is where the toy market falls down, right? There is a balancing act. You want it to look accurate. You want it to have playability, play features, but it also has to be somewhat durable. Mm-hmm. Here's where things fall apart, right? They try to make it hyper accurate, but then they lose the playability. Mm-hmm. Okay? Or they put in all these great play features, but that makes it break easily. You've got to find the sweet spot for those three elements.
And price.
Four, if you count cost effective.
Right.
Yeah, cost effectiveness. Yeah, Little Caesar. Noble Romans was my favorite, and we don't have Noble Romans around me down here. So if I was going to break the rules and have pizza, which I shouldn't be having, man, it'd be so good.
I don't know anything about Noble Romans.
Yeah.
But Little Caesars, I used to work for Little Caesars. It was one of my first jobs in high school.
Yeah. Who wants to play with a building? I know. That's fun. Yeah.
Are you talking about the Ghostbusters?
No, in Big.
set?
No, in Big. Remember in Big, it's like
Big.
play with it's the Transformers, but then it was like it's a building. It transforms into a building joke,
Yeah.
and he's sitting there like, "Well, who wants to play with a building? Like what?"
Right.
And of course, the marketing exec stuff because it's big. It's a big ticket item. It's expensive. It's like, well, that's not kids are going to want to play with a building.
But bringing that back to the Ghostbusters marketing, actually, a channel a big toy channel, Retro Blasting, did a great video about the real Ghostbusters Firehouse playset, which is good, but has some serious shortcomings, and I mean that literally because it wasn't perfectly to scale with the figures.
Yep.
You definitely couldn't fit the Ecto 1 into the base and so forth. And he compares it to the play set that was made for the Filmation Ghostbusters, and he points out actually their play set's actually a bit better and more playable.
That's funny. Yeah, Padawannabe. Toy you're supposed to be playing with. I know.
I remember. I remember seeing that firehouse at thrift stores. The Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's like, man, maybe I should have bought that when I saw that.
You know, come to think of it, there is a YouTube channel, and I'm sorry I can't call it out. You'd have to do a search yourself. It's a couple. They have well, at the time the videos were made, he had to have been 5-6 years old. They were making a playhouse for him in the style of the Ghostbusters headquarters. And they kind of show them making the containment unit and the lights and the Janine, we got one, button and stuff like that, and a locker for him to put his costume into and stuff, and it's really, really quite brilliant. And they also do like haunt related stuff for Halloween, ghosts in their house and projectors and stuff. Really, really good. See if you can find it online. It's worth. But that's a great example of parents very involved with their kid, sharing the love of something with their kid. He'll grow up to be, like us when it comes to Ghostbusters. No doubt about it.
Yeah, why did He-Man have to bend over to get in the castle grid? Yeah, I always had a hard time with the big giant play sets that are not going to allow you to actually play with the toys that work. This is an entrance. Star Wars did it right, so everybody else after that, if you can't do it right, you just didn't follow the goat. So
this is the scaling problem that I see with all of the 6-inch action figures that are so popular today.
Right.
The 3 3/4-inch action figure line is perfect because then the play sets, the buildings, the vehicles are all affordable. That's why we were able to have X-Wings and TIE Fighters, the Millennium Falcon, and so forth. You can't do that for these 6-inch lines, and when you do, you run into the problem that you had with a lot of the He-Man type stuff.
Yep.
We toy companies haven't learned their lessons yet.
Very on brand.
I heard somewhere the Star Wars figures are going back to the 3-inch.
There's a lot of Hasbro has an identity crisis because they have the 3 3/4-inch vintage collection, and they have the 6-inch Black Series. And every time a new Black Series figure is announced, the vintage collection people are like, we want that too, and they can't do both, it seems. And again, I still feel like that 6-inch is marketing to the adult market, and the small figures are potentially marketable to the kids, but they're still marketing them to the adults.
Yeah, their price wise are still
right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Doc Brown scale references for sure.
Yeah.
So, small figures have their place. And I get it. The adults are going to want the bigger figures. Totally get it. But I think that there's a way to have 3 3/4-inch for little guys, and for us too. Some of us like the little, they're proportionate, so that's fine. So. Let's see. Always do want to get good Ghostbusters figures out of the original, but the Lego Ecto one will be mine when. Yeah, Lego Ecto one. Yeah, there's a lot of talk in my house because I do a lot of the Star Wars stuff, and I was asked about some of the Lego stuff, and I'm like, I'm good. I've got the Vader helmets behind me. Got the Probe Droid. Those are the two that I had to have. I look at the AT-AT, which is across from me.
For those of you that were disappointed that the real Ghostbusters were cartoon style and didn't reflect the Ghostbusters from the movies, Hasbro just announced they are putting out a series of 3 3/4-inch. I don't know what they're branding it as, but they're 5 POA in that style of those old figures, but they are clearly the original with the tan, and they look like the movie actors. They've got the black proton packs and so forth, and they just recently announced that they're putting out a 3 3/4-inch scale Ecto 1 in that style from the movie.
Interesting. Very cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Romans pointed out that the prices are nuts. Yeah, I agree. They're just way out of line with where they need to be.
And I'll tell you, the market can't stand it because Bidenomics is hurting families so badly. They still have to pay their mortgage, their rent, and buy food, and they can't afford it. And so what's the first thing they start to cut? It's the toys. I'm sorry, kids, you're going to have to play with popsicle sticks and make your own stuff because we can't afford these ridiculous prices for these toys.
Dempsey's talking about D&D toys. Inch equals a foot. Doesn't know exactly what scale they are. Sam Michael wants to know, do I have the Lego? I do not. My son has a Lego. He's the Lego Star Wars Lego aficionado. I've got the cast-off stuff. I have those 3 pieces I mentioned and tons of minifigures.
Yeah.
That's what I have. I do not need any more Star Wars Lego stuff. I would definitely eyeball an affordable DeLorean and Ecto 1. Those are the only other 2 things that I would be interested in trying. If I can figure out where I'd put them, because I don't really have a set
room
spot.
For a DeLorean you can hang from the ceiling.
No, this would be Lego. He was talking about Lego stuff, so I assume the Lego DeLorean I shouldn't hang from the ceiling because I would probably not. I don't want to glue it. So
I don't know. It holds together pretty well.
3D printers, Transformers Ecto 1 sold out. Retailer snatch. Yeah, I know. Gee, it's rough out there. CBR's in the house. Hey, brother. Food. I need action figures and records.
There you go.
I took over Lego Star Wars build for you, Pops. I got you covered when I start content. Yeah, man, I get you. Thank you. I do hang Lego sets. Okay, cool. I can't do it. I'm afraid. The AT-AT, I can't put it behind me because we don't know how to move him. I already have to do a little bit of rebuild on his head. He's missing a toe that probably fell when the head broke, so I don't know how to move him. So he didn't come out for Star Wars Day. He's across from me. So yeah, the Vader head I got him as broken, had him put together, brought him home, got to take him out of the box, he fell apart, had to have him repaired again. So they repaired him, they brought him over carefully. So that's why you guys can't even see him. Sorry, I'm referring to him and he's right there.
Yeah.
So there's Vader right there.
That's a Lego?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The probe droid's right over there behind. I guess it's kind of behind my seat.
A Lego probe droid? Oh my gosh. They make everything out of Legos these days.
You can always see him. He's right back. Has all of the lag.
They do. Man,
Okay,
and
Pops,
some
you're
of
getting
those
some
sets
lag going on there. You're freezing up on
up
us.
there.
He's frozen in that
Yeah.
like he's riding a motorcycle. Speeder bike. But okay, I
Those
found
guys.
that most of
Lego
my figures
sets,
are from the 60s.
They're incredible. They're just
Yeah, the Lego. See, guys, you guys are
Ramis.
losing me because I'm just not a Lego kind of guy. If it's a helmet, I want it to be a helmet that I can put on my head and do a cosplay. If it's a figure,
right.
I want to be able to pose it, have it look, reasonably like what I'm doing so that I can, display him. And, well, let's face it, even as a 50-plus-year-old man, I play with them. I'm bad.
Well,
But
the ships. I mean, the ships themselves. I mean, that's pretty. They're pretty cool. They've got some,
well, I know that
bigger
Legos,
ones that are actually have a lot more detail and everything.
Sure, I know that one of the upsides to Legos, there's a whole play feature of just the building of it. Kind of like with models. You could build them, take them apart, build them again. Customize them, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, yes, I absolutely do, Saint Michael. I play with my figures just like Dark Helmet does with Spaceballs. That's absolutely true. And to be honest with you, that is the impetus. When I can finish a diorama or whatever, I turn it into a play set, and then I'll make a video of it so that I can kind of justify the idea of an adult, putting together custom action figures and stuff.
Content,
like
baby.
that.
It's all about content.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we have to kind of go towards the finish line a little bit. Jacob, plug a little bit about when your show is so everybody knows how to connect with you, my friend.
Tuesday nights, Popcorn Talk. It's at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and this Tuesday I'll be talking about True Grit. It's the 55th anniversary of it, I think. The 1969 True Grit. So
That's
that'll be
great
fun.
film. Yeah, I think the anniversary of John Wayne passing is also
Yeah,
around this time.
I'm
True.
about 100 and I'm also about 149 subs away from 500. So slowly working up to that.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome, my friend. Troy, it's obviously big news for you, man. Coming into an exciting week this time. Give everybody a little plug about what's going on with you, my friend.
Yeah, I just hit that YouTube partnership level where I can receive super chats, super thanks, and memberships. Memberships I will be announcing next week on my regular show on Last Call with Troy Pacelli every Friday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. And so next week will be the celebration and the announcement of memberships on my channel. Very excited about that. Tonight I will be co-hosting on Netters Network every week I co-host with her and Big Al Saturday Night Movie Night. Tonight is Dolores Claiborne. I host that off platform, so you can watch along with us. Because we're doing Dolores Claiborne, Netter wanted me to do for Monday Night at the Movies on my channel. It's going to be a tomato twofer. So I am doing fried green tomatoes and Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That's Monday at 8 Central. Yeah, right? How do you put that together? Monday at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Every Monday is Monday Night at the Movies on my channel. And I guess
There's a cartoon. If you watch the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes cartoon, yes. Yeah, it's crazy.
It was a Saturday morning thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're the Saturday morning cartoon guy. I know.
I love it so much. I just love watching it all so much. I'm getting ready to transition over to Johnny Quest a little bit, do a little Johnny Quest run and some Batman animated series.
Yeah.
Folks, have a great Ghostbusters day. Go throw one of these movies in. Gentlemen, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Chat, you've been amazing. Thanks for being here, hanging with us, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, if you didn't see it when we came in, it's me driving the Ecto 1. You guys be blessed. Have a good one until next time. I'm Pops.
I mean, this is going to make E.T. look like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know what I'm saying?